Working on a 2016 Kia Sorento, and I'm going to be replacing all 6 spark plugs. So go ahead and pop your hood. So with your hood popped, we can go ahead and remove this plastic engine cover here, and this will just lift right up. It kind of pops off there, and you can see you got these little tabs here that go into these 2 holes there. So with that cover removed, you can see we got 3 of our coils and plugs right here, which are simple to get to. It's the other 3 on the back side that are harder to get to. So we're going to need to remove this upper intake here in order to gain access to those plugs. So before I go ahead and start unplugging all these sensors and everything, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery and pull that out. But first we need to remove this air intake. So you got these 2 clips here, and I believe on these you can take a pair of pliers or a small flathead and you just push in on the round part while lifting up on the other. So just push, and you can see that disconnects like that. Let's do this other side. And then just go ahead and pull that off. Next I'll go ahead and disconnect the battery. You got a 10 millimeter for your negative there. Go ahead and pull that off. Same with your positive here. That just lifts right off like that. Next, grab yourself a 13 millimeter. Let's remove the battery hold down there. And then you'll be able to pull your battery out now. Let's go ahead and lift that out of there. So before I go ahead and start taking things off, you can see there's a lot of dirt and debris all in here. So I'm going to go ahead and blow this off just to clean it up a little bit here. And then also I'm just going to take a rag and stuff it right here in the intake for the air filter. Okay, so I think I'll save these 3 for last since they're easy. So I'll go ahead and start removing the intake here. And I'm gonna have to go around, see what all I need to unplug and take off of it. But first I think I'll start out with, you got a 10 millimeter bolt here, another one here, and another one here. We'll try to get this wiring loom out of the way here. Next, grab a set of needle nose and we'll pull this out. So just squeeze on these 2 tabs here. And then as you're squeezing, go ahead and pull. Pulls off like that. So right above that one, you got another style clip here. But first I'll go ahead and unplug this sensor here. So you just squeeze with your thumb, pulls right off. And then you get your needle nose in here. And it's the same style clip here. So squeeze it, just like that. Then just above that, you got another sensor right here. So again, squeeze your thumb. And you may have to use a little screwdriver here, get up under this tab. That pulls off like that. And then you got another one right here next to your oil filter. Squeeze that one. So as you can see, this wire loom is still too tight. You can see our intake bolts underneath there. And so I think what I need to do is unplug this side over here, and then hopefully we can get this out of the way a little more here. So over here on the passenger side, you got quite a few harnesses as well that are connected to this. So this first one here, again, just push in with your thumb. Plug that one, this one on top here, and looks like we got this gray one here, that, and another black one right here behind that one. And looks like we got 3 more here. This blue one on the back. tannish yellow one, and then this one here. This one here, you can use a little flathead. Just don't go too far bending that tab. You don't want to break it. Just like that. And then with all those unplugged, you can see we got that same style clip right here. So go ahead and grab your needle nose and unplug that. So now, as you can see, that gives us a lot more wiggle room here to access those bolts and get that intake off. So now I think I'm not really sure what we have for bolts for the intake on this backside, if there is any or not. So I think the best bet is to probably remove this whole air filter housing, and then we may end up having to remove that throttle body. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way and then see if we need to unbolt the throttle body or not. So let's go ahead and disconnect this hose here. That's going to the air filter housing. I'm just going to take some vice grips here, get that around the clip, and then let's see if we can pull this off in here. If that's stubborn on you, just take a pair of channel locks and just kind of squeeze around it here. Just kind of wiggle it free. You can see that kind of moves it, just like that. Then go and unplug your sensor here. And we'll go ahead and pull this one off here. Then grab you a 10mm. Let's go ahead and loosen this hose clamp for the throttle body. Next, we'll go ahead and undo the two air filter housing bolts here. Those will be 10mm as well. And then you got one more of those clips right here on your air filter housing. There we go. Now let's see if we can get this housing out of here with that loose on the throttle body. Let's see if we can just pull this off of here, I think. Like that. Okay, so I think the best bet is to remove the throttle body here. I don't really see any other screws holding the intake on this side, but I think if we get the throttle body out of the way here, that should help as well. So you got 4 10mm bolts. Let's go ahead and undo those. You can see that kind of gets us out of the way there. And then you can see how dirty this throttle body is. You can see all the carbon on there. So I may, if I got some throttle body cleaner, I'll probably clean that up for them as well. Okay, so we got a few other hoses I may need to disconnect here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the intake bolts first and see if maybe we can flip this over that way If we can't, then I'm gonna have to remove, looks like there's one back by where the throttle body was. Probably remove this one. And then there's one right on the top here I may have to remove to pull the whole intake off. So I'll go ahead and remove these two 10mm bolts here. And then it looks like we got, you can see, looks like a total of 4 10mm bolts there we need to remove. And then if you guys got a piece of wire or bungee cord or something, I'm gonna go around this wire loom to get it kind of up out of the way here. Just kind of something like that. And then it looks like right here we also have a 10mm nut there. Let's pull that off. And then it looks like same thing on the other side as well, right here. So with those out, you can see intake's really loose now, but it still feels like there's something that's holding it on here. Feels like this right side is pretty loose. So it's almost like there's something on the side here holding it down. So let me take a look, see what else we need to take off. All right, so I had to get my mirror out, and right back here, hopefully you guys can see, there's a 14mm bolt. So where this yellow harness wire goes back in here, looks like there's a bolt right here. So I got a 14mm stubby gear wrench here, and let's see if I can get that off from right here. It's kind of in a weird spot. Not sure if I can get on it good enough with that. Yeah, let me try a socket. Oh, there we go. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I was able to get it with a 1/4" ratchet and a shallow 14mm here. And there we go. So that's what that looks like. So now I should be able to lift this off, I think. There we go. And then, like I said, I was hoping this will just kind of tip out of the way here. And yeah, actually that's gonna work. Just watch your lines. Just make sure you're not putting too much pressure on some of these lines here. And then just kind of set that up out of the way there like that. So next, go ahead and take a clean microfiber or a rag or something, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that over the intake here because you don't want anything, dirt, debris, nuts or bolts falling down into that. So we'll go ahead and cover that up. And then also I'll be replacing this gasket as well. But we'll go ahead and get the plugs done first. Just kind of like that. So now you can see we got easy access to all three of the other plugs. So I'll go ahead and do one at a time here. And the coil bolt's going to be a 10 millimeter. So let's go ahead and loosen that up. And then you can go ahead and just pull on the coil, and it should just pull right out. So just like that. And let me grab my air again, and we'll go ahead and shoot some air there just to clear out all the dirt. Next, go ahead and grab yourself a 5/8 spark plug socket, and you can see the rubber in there. That's what helps get the spark plug out. And let's go ahead and pull this one out here. So there's our old spark plug. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our old plug here. You can see it's an NGK iridiums, which is actually what I'm replacing them with. And so these plugs have been replaced before because they're not the original Kia or Hyundai plugs. But I got all 6 of these off of Amazon. Like I said, they're the NGK laser iridiums. And there's the part number 9723. And check out the description. I'll put a link into these. So let's go ahead and take a look here. They say these are pre-gapped already, so you don't need to gap them. And the gap for these is going to be 0.044 inches. So if you got a spark plug gapper here, you can see we're right on it. So yeah, these are pre-gapped. And then also just make sure you can see on here they're the same. And then actually you can also see the part number on there too is exactly the same. So, and also what I like to do is just grab a little anti-seize here. You don't need much, but I like to just put some on the threads here just to help the next person that changes these plugs out. So go ahead and grab your new plug and stick it in your socket here. And let's go ahead and screw that in. You always want to start these by hand because they're real easy to cross thread. And then once you get that snug, let me grab my torque wrench. So go ahead and torque these, and you can torque them from 11 to 18 foot-pounds. So I'm just gonna go kind of in the middle, right around 15 foot-pounds. And sometimes that'll get stuck on there. And then next I got some dielectric grease here. Hopefully I have enough in this tube. I actually got a hole right here in the top, so that's why I got my vice grips on there. And what I like to do, just take your coil boot here and just put a little bit of this dielectric grease in there. Like I said, hopefully I got enough to do this whole job. So just do something like that. And then go ahead and stick that on your spark plug here. Push down. Grab your 10mm coil bolt there. And go ahead and tighten that down. All right, so I'll go ahead and do these other two here real quick. All right, so that should be all three of those. Just double check, make sure everything's tight. And we didn't unplug any, so we should be good. Next, I'll go ahead and do these three here. And I'll get this wire loom out of the way here. Just drape that down there for now. And then these are going to be pretty much the same thing. So go ahead and grab your 10mm. Pull that one out. And grab your 5/8. Do that. There's that one. There's our new one. And go ahead and torque that. Again, just make sure these are all tight and everything's plugged in, even though we didn't unplug them or anything, but those look good. So now let's go ahead and do the intake gasket. But first, go ahead and get your wire loom out of the way again. So go ahead and remove your rag here. Make sure you tilt it away in case there was anything on top. And then you can see right here you got a little grip to where you can rip this off. So let's go ahead and pull this whole gasket out of here. And then I like to just kind of clean this up a little bit here, because there will be oil that comes off of that gasket there. So just kind of clean this up a little bit. Then go ahead and grab your new gasket. So I went with the original Kia. There's not many aftermarket people that make this gasket, but it's called the gasket surge tank, and Kia number is 29215-3CFA1. And I got this off of eBay. They were the cheapest. Amazon did have them, but they were a little more. So I'll try to provide a link through the one on eBay. If not, I'll put the Amazon one on there. So take your new gasket, and there's only one way that this will go on. Again, it's where this little tab is where we pulled it up. So that'll go in the same spot there. So just kind of get it set up here. And it's been in that package a while, so you're gonna have to kind of maneuver it into the holes here. And then just gently pry down in there once you get it lined up. And so with your intake tilted up out of the way here, let's go ahead and just take your clean rag and let's just wipe this down. Get all that old oil residue off of it. And then I'll show you guys really quick here. So that 14mm bolt goes into this hole right here. And you can see there's no bolts that go into these holes here. These are all open. So really the only one was just this one that was holding us up. So now we should be ready to put the intake back on. Just double check everything. Make sure everything's out of the way. This gasket's on there good. Everything's clean. And let's go ahead and stick this on here. And then when you're setting this on, you got the stud right here that it'll sit on. Same with this one over here. So it's pretty simple to do. I think we're on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the 14mm bolt first back there. And if you'll notice, this kind of rocks back and forth. So when you're putting on this 14mm, you gotta find the hole there. And what you'll have to do is just kind of lift up a little bit on this to get your bolt started in there. And then just get that as tight as you can by hand. And then let's go ahead and get the rest of these started here. So again, these nuts here. And then all 4 of these. Grab your 10mm. And I'm just going to go ahead and get these just snug, and then we'll do the final torque. Then go ahead and grab your torque wrench And you're gonna want to torque all those. It says between 7 and 8 foot-pounds, so I'm just gonna go 7.5. Call it good. So let's go ahead and tighten those down. And then I'll just go over them one more time just to make sure. And then go ahead and tighten your 14mm back here the rest of the way. Can't really get a torque wrench back in there, so just go pretty snug on that one. Next, go ahead and take your rag, and you want to just kind of wipe off this throttle body gasket here. And you can just kind of clean this out a little bit. Just make sure that's clean around that. And then I found some throttle body cleaner here. So I'm just gonna kind of, you can see all that carbon on the backside here. Just spray that. Then with your throttle body all clean, let's go ahead and put our 4 bolts in. Get that lined up. Again, just double check your gasket surface there. Then grab your torque wrench, and those are going to be the same as the intake bolts. So I'm going to go 7.5 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and tighten those up. Then go ahead and undo your wire loom. And go ahead and get that back in place where it should be here. Get your bolt holes lined up. Go through and plug in all your sensors. Clip that back in there. Just double check everything. And you got your one right here. Just above that. Got your clip here. And your other one right here. Plug this one in, and this top one. Next, go ahead and grab your air filter housing, and you you got this little tab right here. So that's going to go down into this little hole here and kind of click in. So let's go ahead and get this lined up. And try to get your throttle body on there. Slide that on. Push this in the, should push it at least down there. So like that. Grab your 10mm. Let's tighten up that hose clamp for the throttle body. And then go ahead and get your hose on here. And with your clip here. And then grab your sensor. And then your clip here. Then go ahead and connect this hose here. Grab your 2 bolts for your air filter housing down here, your 10mm. Then go ahead and grab your battery. Then grab your battery hold down with your 13mm bolt. Then go ahead and connect your positive terminal here. Tighten that with your 10mm. And then of course your negative. You grab your air intake hose here, and you can just pull this off, slide that out, and then just kind of get it started in there. Same with this one. So get this connected, and then go ahead and just stick that in there. Push that in like that. Same with this one. Just like that. And then lastly, just double check everything. Make sure you got everything plugged in. No loose wires. All your hoses are connected. And then everything's tightened down. And looks like we're good. Then grab your engine cover here. And again, go ahead and line up these holes here with these. And it may take you a second to get those lined up correctly. There we go. And you'll hear it snap. And we should be good. So let's go ahead and start it really quick. So let's go ahead and start it just to make sure everything's good. As you can see, fired right up. And looks like we're idling good. So we should be good. Okay, so that's gonna do it for the video. Again, this was a 2016 Kia Sorento with a 3.3 liter V6. Went ahead and replaced all 6 spark plugs. And it's really not that bad of a job once you get down to it. Looks more intimidating than it is. And save yourself some money, do it yourself. So I bought all the parts for pretty much a little less than $100. And the guy I'm doing this for, he had taken it to Kia first to see what they would charge him. And they wanted to charge him $600 to do this same job. So definitely worth doing it yourself, save the money, and hopefully this video helps you out. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, check out all my other videos, and I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.